Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about why the world needs Aries. And Aries, as many of you may know, is a very courageous, forthright, and really is about fortitude. They're the kind of people that will stand up for others, while maybe other people might be a little bit more passive and not quite have that unbridled courage that Aries possesses. And yes, I am talking about the sun, moon, and ascendant. And Aries also can be they have really that innate ability to lead others. I mean, if the world didn't have Aries, you're still going to have people that are going to fill voids at position for positions that are connected or associated with leadership. But I think you would have less of the quality of leaders, and the ones that have a very, as far as the caliber of leaders, might not be as strong. And the thing about it is they also could be very pioneering and really have an innovative quality to them. And Aries, even though it's not an air sign, it can really think really rapidly and really come up with really original and new ideas and concepts about things. So you look at there's someone named Robert Bunsen. He was a pioneer and innovator, and he collaborated with Peter, I don't know if I'm saying this right, DeSaga on creating the Bunsen burner, which was an enhancement of a burner used in laboratories. And Robert Bunsen was a sun in Aries. These people really are about, I think they paved the way for other people that don't have that valor, that don't have that fortitude. Others follow their lead, so to speak, and really when they'll do something and they'll initiate some action, and then others, they're kind of like very inspirational as far as others following them in doing so. And it's funny how that I've talked about this previously in other videos. It's very interesting that you have a lot of like actors and actresses, I do believe, in my opinion, are subconsciously drawn at the very least to roles that kind of correspond with their astrological makeup. I mean, actress Lucy Lawless, many of you may have heard of her. She has a sun and moon in Aries, and there was some source that had her Aries rising, and then I saw something else at Aquarius rising. But I do know her sun and moon are both in Aries, and she played a valiant warrior on the TV series Xena Warrior Princess. And really, I think a lot of people that had, and Aries is a sign known to be about combat and fighting and having fearlessness and courage. And I think her and other actors and actresses that have Aries prominent in the sun, moon, or ascendant can really gravitate toward these kind of roles. And you also have, so in other words, you have the people in these parts that play these roles of fighters and warriors. I think you might have less quality people in those roles because of that if the world did not have Aries. Now, another interesting example is actor, martial artist Steven Seagal's a sun in Aries, and I believe, an expert in, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Aikido, which I believe is it's the form of martial arts. And he really, I mean, he does this in movies and in real life. He is, I believe, an expert at this. So they're really the better fighters, and can be Aries, I believe. Aries is someone that can be very proficient in fighting and know how to emerge victorious. So you have really people that aren't really you'll still have good fighters, I think, without Aries, but you'd have a few here and there that would be of less quality, I think, because I think Aries has that strong fighting spirit and really has that ability to fight and conquer and win. And what's interesting too is that I noticed that there's two prominent athletes that have both have the sun in Aries, and one has the sun in Aries and an Aries ascendant as well. Now, Peyton Manning has the sun in Aries. I don't know what his, well, thing is, he may have Aries rising, but I have not verified that online what his ascendant is. I believe his time of birth is still unknown. But I know he has the sun in Aries, and he is number one, best of my knowledge, in touchdown passes, and I believe in yards thrown as well. Aries seem to have the uncanny ability to emerge, to be first in things. They really want to be number one, and they will work hard and work laboriously to be at the top of a certain position. Many people regard Peyton Manning as the greatest quarterback in NFL history. I have another opinion about that, but however, you understand what I'm saying. As far as, at least in the regular season, perhaps unequivocally, he has been the best NFL quarterback. I don't believe he is the best of all time, but many do hold him in regard as far as being number one of all time. And when you think about it, also I think you have better athletes as far as Aries goes. Aries can be strongly about competition, and I think Aries are very good athletes. So without Aries, you might have some athletes. Might not have as many quality athletes. And Peyton Manning also, as many of you may know that follow pro football in the NFL, is that he had to he came back off. He was benched. He was injured or something. He got, in the last two games he's played in the postseason, he wasn't great, but he was adequate and helped lead his team to victories. And now his team, the Denver Broncos, are in the Super Bowl. And another example, even though he's much maligned for his gambling escapades in conjunction with Major League Baseball, Pete Rose finished number one in career hits all time. He still holds that record. And at the time, I mean, he was really kind of a transcendent athlete, I thought. And as far as what he did on the field, I still laud him for this. And he has an Aries sun and an Aries ascendant. And he played the game. I mean, he was a prototypical Aries. I mean, he played with a lot of assertiveness and aggression, and wasn't afraid to mix it up with somebody. I guess you'd say that's one way to put it, if he had to. And I don't remember his exact words, but he had stated something to the effect that he didn't maybe feel he had the real raw natural ability a lot of the other Major League Baseball players had, so he worked more laboriously and worked harder, and they called him Charlie Hustle, I think, a lot because of that. And he really, Aries and discouragement is generally not in Aries DNA. They're not going to quit easily. Now, Aries can be somewhat impatient, so to some degree, in some instances, you might have an Aries that might stop someone because they do get impatient. But if it's something they really want and desire, the discouragement will not be in their DNA. If it's something very significant and important in their life and a goal they're trying to attain, I believe that they don't get discouraged that readily. Now, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment for why the world needs Aries. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be continuing my Sun / Ascendant combination series. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.